So it's been about over a month now since Resident Evil 9 Requiem has come out. I've only beaten the game once, but I want to make my review and give my take on this. And this is more of a personal thing. I don't think the game is as good as what everyone says. Some people go as far as saying this is a masterpiece game, but in my opinion, I don't think this is a masterpiece. I think this is a decent game, but overall, it's more of a lower on the lower end of a decent game. It's not as good as what everyone says, calling it a masterpiece. So here's my take on it, and let me explain why it's not as good as what everyone says. I think one of the things that makes this game not good, well, not I think, I know for a fact, just for me personally, is that this game is actually trying too hard to be too much of almost everything. I think it's, not I think, I know and I feel how, like, the way it's presenting, it's giving off the vibe of it's trying to be Resident Evil 2 remake with Resident Evil 4 remake and Resident Evil 7. And obviously, it's not even just me saying this. Even the director of this even said that, like, oh, this is like a mix of this and that of these older Resident Evil game with the like more modern Resident Evil game. So yeah, that's just kind of not it for me. I think when you try to do too much, you actually end up losing your identity, kind of. And I understand why they do this, like what the reasoning behind all this is for, and that's fine. But I think it was really poorly executed. I think what could have been done better if they actually would have just separate both of the main characters' campaign. So, for example, let you play Grace on Grace's section and let Leon play on Leon's section. But instead, they try to put both of them, not try, they did put both of them together in one campaign to just do one, you know, campaign between both of them where you just jump back and forth. And honestly, what sucks is that when they did that, it just Grace didn't really get any good moment to shine. She didn't really have anything special going on her side or her end, but it was pretty fun playing her. For example, she doesn't really have anything unique on her end. Like, she doesn't have any unique weapon. All she has is two pistols and an SMG. And I know, like, the SMGs is supposedly considered as her special unique gun, but let's be honest, it's just a regular ass SMG gun. Like, Leon, on the other hand, he has a lot of moment to shine, and he get to kill the boss, and he actually has boss fight where Grace actually don't have any boss fight. So this is where I'm talking about where they just trying to do too much, but at the same time they're also selling themselves really short, not giving Grace moment to shine. Grace didn't have any actual boss fight. I don't consider her killing that big monster girl a boss fight. That was more just like a gimmick. But back to what I was saying, like Leon, he had a lot of moment to shine. He had a unique weapon, which is the Requiem gun, including a whole bunch of other gun up his arsenal. He has like a bunch of shotguns, a bunch of SMGs, two sniper rifles, three shotguns, and like three different types of pistols. So I think it's really unfair that Grace didn't really get to have that, and I understand, like, from a logical reasoning, because Grace is still just like, she doesn't have as much training or went through as much experience as Leon, so it makes sense that she doesn't have that much weapon up her arsenal. But still, I think they could have at least added like a little bit more weapon to her, because I think that would have been nice and that would have just given her more moment to shine. But she did not have any big moments. If you play this game, you know for a fact that Grace did not have any big moment in this game. I guess if the closest thing you can say she has the biggest moment is saving Leon, but I don't know. It was just, that was just not even it. I just like, I don't know. They didn't give her a proper build up to it. And also another thing, that if they wanted them to, for you to play two characters at the same time, what they could have should have done is do like an AI co-op like Resident Evil 5 did, where you could switch between Chris and Sheva. So they should have just done that with this one, where you could switch between Grace and Leon right off the back, and you play both of them at the same time. Now, why I think this is better, because you for the story rise, I think it makes sense, like why it would work if you implement this, because Leon is sick and he's getting old. Grace is young and kind of somewhat inexperienced, and she's new to all this horror. So it would have been better if they would have just added this, what I'm talking about, where you can switch between both of them right at the top and play both of them at the same time, like having an AI partner to assist you. So I think having that would be nice, and it would have worked it really well, especially with the way how the story played out. Since if Leon was by her side and they traveled together on a journey, which is, I think that would have been the right way to do this if they wanted to do that. Or they could have just separated, like I said, the both of their campaigns where you could play A and B, play Grace as Grace and play Leon as Leon. That would have worked way better. Instead, no, it wasn't really fleshed out well. Leon's section, some parts was just not good. Let's be honest, revisiting that Raccoon City that's now in dust and ruins was interesting to see at first, but really his parts feels more like a chore, and it's just not really well designed. It felt, I don't know, something about it just feels off to me, and I think a lot of people will agree with that. A lot of people say that his section, that part on like Raccoon City, was just too long, and I agree, it is too long, and it's just, I don't know, I just can't vibe with it. And when I played this game on day one on launch, I did a pistol run only on launch day, so be sure to check that out on my channel. It is a crazy challenge that I did. Anyways, back to what I was saying about this game for the review. Another thing that I had sort of like a problem with this game is that like who is it, Zeno, that character didn't really get much time to shine. He sort of just came out more towards like the end section, and then he got killed off at the end, and there's not much information about him. Now some people are speculating that he is set up for Resident Evil X, which is Resident Evil 10, but I'm like, you didn't even properly introduce him in RE9, so why would you even bother to even do that? So I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like he wasn't really well developed in this game. Sure, they talked about like there's gonna be a DLC that's coming out and that it's gonna expand the story, but I don't know if he's gonna be in that. We don't know. But all I know is that he wasn't properly fleshed out as a villain, and they sell him off really short. So yeah, also like pretty much all the rest of the other game, all the like level design within the game is just not that good, to be honest. That's another thing I don't like. Let's be honest, the best part and the best section of the game was the Chronic Care Center, and I think a lot of people will agree with that is like the best design. Once you get to the desert Raccoon City area, it's just not that good. And the lab or whatever where it is where the art is at, it's okay. It just really wasn't much to it. Another character that was a waste too was Hunk. Now a lot of people say it is Hunk, and then some people say it's not, so I don't know, but let's just say if it is, well, guess what, I think they really wasted a character here, because Hunk is a really interesting, cool, and mysterious character. So for them to just like randomly like kill him off like that, I just don't really like that. So I hope, I mean, hold on, another thing, it's just like, not I hope, but it's what do you call it, they say that his body disappeared. Like if you go back and check later, his body disappeared. I never did that, so I don't know, but I'm gonna go with what I've heard, that so maybe that is Hunk and he is still alive. But anyways, in my opinion, I feel like it doesn't really make sense why Hunk will work for this client. I think he is a like freelance hired mercenary or something like that, or hitman. But still, I feel like Hunk, it doesn't really match. The way how I see it, it seems like he doesn't seem like the type to work for someone like Zeno, you know what I mean? And Dr. Victor Gideon. So, yeah, and also the story for this game, for Resident Evil 9, wasn't really that interesting. It was just the revealing of everything and just going to it was just like, I don't know. It just wasn't that special or that entertaining and all that stuff. But it's a decent game with a decent story. And yes, I know Resident Evil stories has never been perfect. It's always have a lot of plot armor, a few inconsistency here and there before, but still, I just want to mention that the story is just alright. Another thing about this game that doesn't really add up with the story that I want to touch on is that like Leon said he got a dose with her name on it, like the cure for her illness, but didn't the cure fill down and got like all smashed up by the crumbled art lab, right? Because remember at the end, the whole place was coming down. So how can Leon say that he got a dose of that with her name when the medicine or the vaccine that they got already fell under the rubbles and most likely destroyed, and they never show that they picked it up? Now I know some people might speculate and say that, oh, maybe they could just use Leon's blood and do that. I don't know if that works, but it's Resident Evil, so that just might work. Who knows? Another thing that about this game that I don't like about Resident Evil 9 Requiem is just how stupid some zombie designs are. For example, a zombie holding a gun is fucking stupid. That shit is so dumb. It's not even like Resident Evil 4 where you have those ganados holding a gun. It's just not really cool to see. It just doesn't fit with the vibe and the tone. It's just like zombie carrying a gun. Like, I don't know if that's a good thing. I think it's really stupid. It just looks dumb. It doesn't really match the tone and the style. So that's something that I don't like about this game. Just like zombies holding a barrel and throw a barrel at you, or a gas tank, whatever, or propane tank at you and it explodes. I think stuff like that's stupid, especially them holding a gun. This really got me thinking too, that what if one of the reasons why they never released a demo for Resident Evil 9 in the first place is because of all of these things that I'm talking about, because they were worried that maybe people might not like it if you play Grace and Leon switching back and forth. That's why they never released a demo, because they didn't want to risk that of like, oh, like if we release a demo and people get to play like Grace and Leon jumping back and forth, they might not like it, and then we think we fuck it up. So that's why we're not gonna release a demo. Because come on, throughout the past like 7-8 years, them making all the new Resident Evil game, Capcom making all these remakes, they've had a demo, but for some reason RE9 didn't have a demo. Like, really? Now I know like y'all may be like, no, that can't be it, because like a lot of content creators, gamers, and streamers get to play ahead of time. But yeah, but that's different though. That's because they're getting sponsored and they only get to play like an hour of it. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's just one of my speculation. I think that's why they didn't release the RE9 Requiem demo, but who knows? Another thing that this game sucks, or just not that good, is the whole new game and the new game plus thing is not that good. It's not really well structured. So it's not even a real new game plus. It's kind of like a new game plus where you had to buy and upgrade all those guns for Leon all over again. So that kind of sucks. It's not even a real or true new game plus. So that's something that I don't like about this game. That's really all I have to say. I don't really have too much to say anymore, I believe. I mean, I did have some notes here, but even I might have missed it out on some things that I forgot to like put in my notes to even read it here. But like, yeah, I'm not saying that this game is like the worst Resident Evil or the worst game ever. This is a decent game, but it's not that good. To me, personally, I think it kind of sucks. If I were to rate it out of 10, to be honest, I would put this like a 4, a 3 or 4. I think 4 out of 10. I know that is really low, and a lot of you might hate me for that, and because I know a lot of people like this game, and a lot of people call it like a masterpiece, which is not. But for me personally, I don't really like it like that. It's okay game. Like I said, they could have just separated the two characters campaign, or what they could have done is just let you switch between both of the characters at the same time while having an AI partner playing through the story together, because it makes sense why you would implement that if you do actually do that. But they didn't do that, so I don't know. And here's another thing too, in case some of you might take this out of context. I'm not saying that Leon should not be in the game. I'm not saying Grace should not be in the game. I don't mind having both of them in the game. It's just that what you could have done is, one, separate their campaign, or two, if you're gonna have both of them together, then have both of them travel together, partner up together, and back each other up, because that would make sense for the game and the lore. Because like I said, Leon is sick, he's getting old, Grace is inexperienced. They both are there to complement and support each other on what the person and the other character needs, which will make sense. But too bad, I guess they didn't think of this. But it's a decent game. Like I said, it's not the worst, but in my opinion, it's also not the best. I would probably put this on the lower end, of a Resident Evil game. Like if I was to put it on the tier list, it would be on the lower end. But yeah, that's all I have to say, man. This is, yeah, I don't even think I want to beat this game for a second time. I've only beaten this game once on launch day with a pistol run only, and that shit was it was fun, but at the same time, it's just the level designs and the zombies are just not fun. But yeah, and I'm not saying this game needs to be easy or anything, but yeah, that's all I have to say. If you're watching this, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. That would really help support me as a content creator and grow here. So thanks for watching.